The Senate Committee on Government Affairs will come to order. Mr. Secretary, if you could please call the roll.
Senator Daley?
Here.
Senator Ellison?
Present.
Senator Krasner?
Here.
Senator Neal? Senator Orenshaw?
Present.
Senator Rogich?
Here.
Chair Flores?
Present. Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Please let the record reflect 6 members are present. We have a quorum. Please mark Senator Neal as absent excused. Good afternoon, everyone, to our very hardworking Committee on Government Affairs. It's great to see all you here today. Thank you for joining us. Quick house cleaning. I want to remind folk, if you have not had an opportunity to do so, please make sure you sign in. For those of you who will be testifying, if you could please provide your business card and/or your contact information to our committee secretary, particularly for minute purposes. Sometimes we got to contact you for context at a later time. We have 3 items on the agenda. We're going to have to take them slightly out of order. We have some folk that are joining us in Las Vegas. We're still trying to connect. So in the interest of time, however, and I don't want to keep, as we're starting a little late already, we'll take Senate Bill 51 first. And with that, I'd like to open up the hearing on Senate Bill 51. Good afternoon. Welcome. And there's a little button right beneath the microphone that turns it green.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Chair Flores, Vice Chair Orenshaw, and members of the committee. For the record, my name is Kelly McNeil. I'm the Executive Director of the Nevada League of Cities and Municipalities. And with me today is Elaine Wiseman, one of Reno's housing managers, who will introduce herself.
Hi, good morning, or good afternoon, sorry. For the record, Elaine Wiseman, Housing Manager for the City of Reno.
I want to thank all of the members of the committee who met with us before today's hearing. In these discussions, we outlined why the League was compelled to bring this legislation before you today. For some background, Washoe and Clark County and the incorporated cities within them are required to include a housing element in their master plans. The housing element must include 6 of 12 measures to address the housing needs of the city or county. One of the 6 measures is to waive fees for the development of affordable housing. In 2019, the legislature passed Senate Bill 103, which allows local jurisdictions to waive or reduce certain fees for the construction of affordable housing. Because of that legislation, over the last 5 years, Reno, Henderson, and Las Vegas have awarded more than $12 million in fee reductions or waivers for the development of affordable housing. 769 units are built and/or leasing. A summary of these waived fees have been found in the inclusion letter. The local jurisdictions are transparent through a public process when making these awards, and each award is fully vetted. While these waiver programs are proving to be a beneficial tool in support of bringing affordable housing to market, additional funding from the state or federal government have been valuable tools for local jurisdictions. This legislation could prove to go a long way for Reno, Henderson, and Las Vegas as each jurisdiction continues to build housing capacity. This legislation could also provide funding to incentivize other jurisdictions to waive fees without jeopardizing their enterprise funds. Type of fees waived or reduced include impact fees, fees for the issuance of building permits, or fees imposed for which an enterprise fund was created, for example, a sewer connection fee. The reductions in fees can make a difference between a go or a no-go for projects. We are asking the legislature to continue their commitment to Nevadans as housing for all is a top priority. And with that, I would like to conclude by doing a quick walkthrough of the bill and take any questions you may have about SB 51. The intent of the account for housing expansion through local partnerships, or HELP, creates a $20 million fund within the housing division of the state of Nevada to reimburse local jurisdictions that have waived fees for affordable housing projects. This allows local jurisdictions to seek reimbursement from the Housing Division of the State of Nevada for waived or reduced fees pursuant to NRS 278.235. The Housing Division, through the regulatory process, will create the policies and procedures that will determine how legislation will be utilized. Section 2 of the bill creates the account for help. Section 2 establishes that reimbursement is contingent upon the approval of the Interim Finance Committee. Section 3 allows for local jurisdictions to apply for up to 100% of the total cost of the reduced or waived fees. Section 3 clarifies that fee waivers are only available for affordable housing projects as defined by statute, which is Tier 1 up to 60% of area median income. Section 3 establishes that for the purpose of reimbursement, local jurisdictions are not eligible until the project receives the certificate of occupancy. And at this time, I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you for the presentation. Members, any questions? We'll start off with Senator Daly, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Read through the bill. I think I understand that, and I've seen, in Washoe County at least, I don't follow it as closely in Clark, where they've done waivers and various things to help accommodate the housing. So this seems like a shift from some of that risk at the city level to do some of this and trying to create a fund in the state where they can get reimbursed for that. So is there any type of what's the word they use in the federal stuff? Matching funds, if you will. So if the city has to put some in, or they've committed this much, and I know they can ask for reimbursement up to 100%, but is there some type of match where the city has to have buy-in and not just say, we can give all these waivers all we want, we're going to get reimbursed from the state, potentially, if there's even any money? So shouldn't there be some buy-in, some skin in the game from the local governments?
At this time, I'm not sure if there are match requirements. I'm happy to look into that and get back to you.
Well, I see in the bill, it says that they can ask for 100% reimbursement. So I'm just trying to say, I know a lot of times when the federal government said, hey, we'll give you some of this other money, but you have to put up this much to add to it or whatever. And that's just the premise that we're going off of. Otherwise, it's just a shift from, we're not taking any risk, we're gonna give all this stuff away, we're gonna get the benefit, and the state's gonna pay for it through this fund, assuming there's any money.
Members, any additional questions? Vice Chair Orangel, please.
Thank you very much, Chair, and thank you for the presentation. And Chair, I know we're not a fiscal committee, but my question as to Section 5, the $20 million appropriation sought, with the affordable housing projects coming down the line in the next biennium, do you think that's an adequate amount of money, or where did that 20 million come from in terms of the funds for these projects? Is that a goal, or just wondered kind of where that came from, and do you think that's adequate for projects that'll be up and coming the next biennium if this is approved?
Okay, for the record, Elaine Wiseman, City of Reno. I'm not sure where that number came from, but I can just speak from the City of Reno's perspective that since 2021 was our first approval, we've spent, or we have waived over 12 million in fees, and that's just in the City of Reno alone. So to say, I think 20 million is a great start. Where that number came from, I'm not sure.
Thank you, Ms. Wiseman. Mr. Chair, a brief follow-up?
Please follow up.
The 12 million that Reno has waived in these for affordable housing projects, is that something then the city's had to bear on its own? It hasn't had any support from the state or federal funds? That's something the city's had to bear?
Correct. So, I mean, it's a waiver, but still all of the new construction from the affordable housing, that's what enterprise funds are for, right? To support all of the infrastructure. And so if we're waiving or we're not requiring those projects because they are affordable housing to pay those fees, at some point, it's just not sustainable for the enterprise fund to continue to take that hit.
Thank you, Ms. Wiseman. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Senator Ellison, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just got a light one. I'm sorry, I had to step out for a second. Question I've got is, this is going to go to Money Committee, of course, see what's going to be out there, what's going to be available or not available. But on question 2, line 4, it says the money remaining in the account at the end of the fiscal year does not revert to the state general fund, and the balance is the account must be carried forward to the next fiscal year. Has anybody talked to the governor's office on their budget along with?
Kelly McNeil for the record. We have been in conversation with the governor's office for the last couple of years. As to the specifics, I'm not sure what the outcome's going to be, but I'm happy to look into that and get back to you.
Members, any additional questions? Could you just give me, just for a point of clarification, I understand that we're using enabling language with the interim finance committee for purposes of just transparency and accountability. Is there a reporting mechanism in a scenario where, and I assume that should the money be allocated, should you be getting additional, and that'd be amazing, right? That you have folk coming in, they're putting money into this pot. But is there a mandatory reporting requirement, or we're just saying, look, let the interim finance committee, should they want the transparency, make the appointment of 6, I think is what you indicated in here. But I'm just curious to know, is there a mandatory obligation for you to do any type of reporting? Or you're just saying, if the money's there, if we get the gifts, then at that point, they will likely go in there anyway. I'm assuming that's the rationale. Could you just walk me through that?
Kelly McNeil for the record. Thank you for the question. That has been the mentality behind it thus far. If we are to move forward with this, the likelihood of moving forward with reporting would be assumed as well. We haven't had specific conversations about the reporting component just yet.
Fair enough. Thank you. Members, any additional questions? Thank you again for the presentation. At this time, I'd like to invite you to sit back in the gallery, and I'll invite those wishing to testify in support of Senate Bill 51 to please come forward. Thank you for joining us. Good afternoon, welcome.
Good afternoon, Chair Flores, Vice Chair Oren Schall, and members of the Senate Government Affairs Committee. For the record, I'm Mindy Elliott, M-E-N-D-Y, E-L-L-I-O-T-T, with Flynn Judici Government Affairs, on behalf of Southern Nevada Regional Housing Authority, Reno Housing Authority, and Nevada Rural Housing Authority. All three authorities have submitted letters of support and are either uploaded or will be uploaded to Nellis shortly. On behalf of all Nevadans and more tools in the toolbox that we can identify to support affordable housing in the state, we are absolutely on board with. Furthermore, we would even suggest that through the regulatory process, we would hope that the legislature would adopt a similar methodology as used in distributing federal competitive low-income housing tax credits amongst Clark County, Washoe County, and the balance of the state, and prioritization of public housing authorities which are regulated under NRS Chapter 315 and specifically created by the government entities of the state of Nevada to address the need for affordable housing within the geographic region. We also appreciate your question regarding transparency and reporting requirements, and certainly through the regulatory process, we think it would be important that a reporting element would be certainly something that we would certainly entertain as a part of an amendment to this bill. Thank you for your time and consideration in this very important piece of legislation.
Thank you for joining us. Good afternoon, welcome.
Thank you, Chair, members of the committee. Nick Ciccone for the record, representing the city of Reno. That's NIC, CICC, ONE. As the others have mentioned, this has been a valuable tool for the city of Reno. We've waived $12 million in fees for about 2,100 units. When we're talking about the buy-in from the local government, this is waived at the front end. So In our view, we believe that this would be kind of seen as a process where the local government initially buys in and helps out that developer. And then hopefully we're able to come to the state and ask for that help to reimburse us after we've waived the fee on the back end. This has been an incredibly valuable tool. It's just one tool in our toolbox to make housing a little bit more affordable in the city of Reno and across the state. And we also believe that it'll encourage other local jurisdictions to waive more fees. Specifically with the enterprise fees, those funds are meant to pay for the service that those individuals are paying for, specifically the sewer connection fees. And so it's our belief that finding another pot of money, and we did look at federal money. Unfortunately, we were not awarded a grant for that at this time. But we have looked at other options. We've started to get creative, and this was one solution that we thought might be viable. Thank you very much.
Thank you for joining us. Good afternoon, welcome.
Good afternoon, Chair Flores, Vice Chair Orenshall, and members of the committee. For the record, Alex Pike with Flynn Judici Government Affairs in support of SB 51 on behalf of the City of Fernley and the Nevada Housing Coalition. This bill is important for supporting the policy priority of affordable housing projects in Fernley. The degree to which the city may be eligible for reimbursement of certain expenses related to affordable housing projects will greatly improve the opportunities that Fernley will have to promote more affordable housing, and we urge you to support this bill. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. Good afternoon, welcome.
Good afternoon, Chair Flores, Vice Chair Orenshall, and members of the committee. For the record, my name is Jennifer Berthiaume, that's Berthiaume, Government Affairs Manager at the Nevada Association of Counties, or NACO, whose members represent all 17 counties. Creation of the account for housing expansion through local partnerships is a step forward in addressing the affordable housing challenges our communities face. This dedicated funding stream empowers local governments to reduce or subsidize impact fees, building permit fees, and other costs that can otherwise hinder the development of affordable housing projects. For these reasons, NACO supports SB 51. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. Good afternoon, welcome.
Good afternoon, Chair, members of the committee. For the record, David Cherry, that's DAVIDCHERRY, Government Affairs Manager with the City of Henderson. The city shares a commitment to increasing the availability of affordable housing in our community and others around the Silver State. We thank the Nevada League of Cities for bringing this legislation and support the creation of a new funding source that local governments can tap to help further the ability to invest in partnerships with the development community to incentivize construction of affordable housing units. This month, construction is slated to begin on a new affordable housing unit being built in partnership with Nevada Hand at the City of Henderson. The city has provided approximately $150,000 in incentives to this project, which will provide 144 new units for qualified individuals. And more affordable development is planned in the next few years, with the city providing incentives to encourage these needed additions. SB 51 would allow the city to recover a portion of these incentives so they may be reinvested in future affordable housing projects, creating a win-win for all involved. For those reasons, we urge your support for SB 51. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. Good afternoon, welcome.
Hello, Chair Flores, Vice Chair Orenshall, members of the Senate Government Affairs Committee. My name is Wesley Harper. I am the Director of Government Affairs for the City of North Las Vegas. We echo the sentiments, the broad sentiments of each one of our sister municipalities and interested stakeholders. This would be one more tool that the city could use in order to increase affordable housing within our city and make more housing available for our residents. For that reason, we support it. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Chair, members of the committee. For the record, Randy Robinson, Director of Government Affairs, City of Las Vegas. We support affordable housing. We support this bill. Thanks.
Thank you for joining us. I don't see anybody else in Carson City. Las Vegas, do we have anybody wishing to testify in support?
We do. Thank you, Mr. Chair and committee members. I'm Cedric Creer, Vice President of Government Relations for Onda Housing Group. We are an affordable housing developer that has properties under development in Florida, looking to come into Southern Nevada, Northern Nevada to help with the need to bring more affordable housing into our community. We are in full support of SB 51. I can tell you firsthand that a lack of a program of fee reimbursements has and can be a huge impediment for developers to come in and try to make a project pencil. We know we need more housing. We know that we have to help to get there. And hopefully SB 51 will do just that. And we are here to support. And hopefully we can get some more affordable housing into all of our communities so that people can have a great and safe place, beautiful place to live. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you for joining us. Is there anybody else in Las Vegas wishing to testify in support of Senate Bill 51? Seeing none, BPS, do we have anybody wishing to join us over the phone?
Thank you, Chair. If you'd like to testify in support of SB 51, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue.
Good day, Chair Flores and members of the Hardworking Committee. This is Dora Martinez with the Nevada Disability Action Coalition, and we wholeheartedly support this bill to please have accessible transportation nearby. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. Next caller in support, please.
Again, if you recently just joined us, we are currently in support of SB 51. If you would like to testify in support, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue. Chair, you have no more callers wishing to testify in support at this time.
Thank you. Anybody wishing to testify in opposition to Senate Bill 51, either in Carson City or Las Vegas, please come forward. I don't see anybody in Carson City, and I don't believe we have anybody in Las Vegas. At this time, Las Vegas, I can't see the video. If you are wishing to testify in opposition, please just turn on the mic and speak. Seeing none, BPS, is there anybody wishing to testify in opposition to Senate Bill 51 over the phone?
If you would like to testify in opposition of SB 51, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue. Caller,
Hello,
please
everybody. How y'all doing today? This is JC, aka John Carlo. I'm a well-familiar voice in the state of Nevada, and basically, as I read this bill, I do have major problems with bills coming from tax money from Nevadans. When illegals are being hired and being paid from Nevada state money, I mean, it's not really hard to figure out when you go on these big projects. Like, I've been on these projects all over the state, all over the Nevada, and you have illegals building this stuff, and there's no provision to prevent that. We need you guys on prevailing wage jobs and other projects. I would like to see this legislator actually put something in a bill that prevents illegals from receiving this money. I don't think our money should be going to a bunch of illegals building these houses. For one thing, they don't care about this country, and they don't build with the same quality as an American does. It is not the same. So I do not support this bill. You guys talk about affordable housing all the time, but very little gets done. We all know what really needs to happen with the expansion of land in Clark County, the land use. So, I mean, the obvious is there. You know, we just keep talking about it, nothing ever happens. But we know that a bunch of illegals are working in Nevada, and we just don't want it. Thank you.
Next caller in opposition, please.
Chair, you have no more callers wishing to speak in opposition at this time.
Thank you. We'll stay on the phone line. Is there anybody wishing to testify in the neutral position to Senate Bill 51?
If you would like to testify neutral to SB 51, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue.
Good afternoon. My name is Cyrus Hojati, Cyrus Hojjaty. I wanted to hear opposition comments, but apparently there wasn't really any good opposition that I could find. So I will, my apologies, sorry to waste your time, but I will support this bill if it's okay. I will yield my time. Thank you so much for preparing this, and keep fighting. Although, make no mistake, this doesn't solve the heart of our problems. It does help, but I will discuss the heart of our problems in public comment if that's what you recommend.
Understood.
Go ahead.
That works perfectly fine. Thank you for joining us today. BPS, do we have anybody else wishing to testify in the neutral position to Senate Bill 51?
Chair, you have no more callers wishing to testify neutral at this time.
Thank you. Is there anybody else wishing to testify in the neutral position here in Carson City or Las Vegas? Seeing none, if I could invite our bill presenters to come back up and any closing remarks you may have. And we will have one additional question for you by our Vice Chair.
Thank you very much, Chair. And one question I thought of, and I didn't think of it earlier, and do you know, are other states reimbursing municipalities for these fees? Is this common in other states, or I'm just wondered if you know, and if not, maybe that's something we could research, but I just wondered if this is being done in other states.
Kelly McNeil for the record. Thank you for the question, Vice Chair. I'm happy to look into that and get back to you. I don't know at this time.
Thank you, Chair.
And please share that with the entire committee so that everybody has access to that. And or if anybody else who worked, I know there was a collaborative effort that was done on this particular language. If any of you have that data, please do share it. Any closing remarks you may have?
Chair Flores, Vice Chair Ornschall, and members of the committee, I just want to thank you for hearing this bill today, and also let you know we are open to including an amendment to include the reporting components as well.
Perfect. Thank you again for joining us today.
Thank you.
With that, we'll go ahead and close out the hearing on Senate Bill 51. Next on the agenda, we have Senate Bill 290. And I know we have some folk who are going to be co-presenting from Las Vegas. If you're here for Senate Bill 290, please make your way down to the microphone. Perfect. Senator, whenever you're ready.
Just making sure we're all here. I see we are all here and ready to go. Good afternoon. I was almost going to say good evening, but luckily it's still light outside. I guess thanks to daylight savings. But for the record, my name is Rochelle Wynn. I proudly represent Senate District 3, which is in central Las Vegas. And today I'm introducing Senate Bill 290 alongside Aaron Brown, who will be presenting from Las Vegas, and I see him at the table there, as well as Maria Nieto Orta and Kelsey Hardy. And with that, I will tell you a little brief about this, but then I will turn this over to the far smarter people in the room, including my three co-presenters. So Senate Bill 290 aims to amend Nevada Revised Statute, Chapter 277A, to grant Regional Transportation Commission, the RTC security officers, the authority to remove individuals from RTC vehicles or other property if they engage in disruptive or unlawful behavior as defined by existing law. This legislation seeks to enhance RTC's ability to maintain a safe and efficient public transit system by explicitly empowering RTC security officers to address unlawful conduct by removing offenders from transit vehicles. Public transit must continue to be a safe and reliable option for all who depend on it, whether it's commuting to work, attending school, or accessing essential services. What really struck me about the work that went in, and I have to give a lot of credit to Angela Castro, who is also present in here, really the mastermind behind getting all these groups together. And the reason that I'm really proud to sit here with the three co-presenters is the work that they have done coming from their various different experiences, working with legislation and advocating for legislation is the work that they put in during the interim to make sure that this piece of legislation got to a place where they brought in stakeholders really early on, from everyone from labor to the ACLU to our law enforcement partners and prosecutors and community advocates to come up with a piece of legislation that we're able to present here today for you. And with that, I will turn this over to who is our youngest presenter, probably maybe of your day today. It is Aaron Brown. He is a high school student at Clark High School and really got in touch with me and indicated that he really wanted to be a part of legislative lawmaking, policymaking, and all things that we do here in this building. And this gives him a perfect opportunity to showcase what I already know about him to be true, that he is a future leader in our community. And with that, I will turn this over to Aaron Brown.
My name is Aaron Brown, and I'm a sophomore at Clark High School in the heart of Las Vegas. Because I'm enrolled in the magnet program at Clark, I am not eligible for school busing, which leaves me and other students in my position with limited transportation options. Initially, RTC busing seemed like the best solution for getting to and from school. However, my parents were concerned about my safety on the bus and ultimately decided to drive me to school each day despite the inconvenience and stress that it would cause them every morning. Their willingness to make that sacrifice highlights the seriousness of their safety concerns and underscores the importance of SB 290. Clark High School is one of 15 schools where students can receive free passes through RTC's Ride On program. Many CCSD students rely heavily on public transportation to access school, extracurricular activities, and jobs. However, students who depend on RTC busing often face unsafe or disruptive situations that lead to delays and impact their ability to get to school on time. Passing SB 290 would improve the overall efficiency and safety of public transit. Safe and reliable transportation directly impacts students' academic performance and overall well-being. Inadequate or unsafe transit creates barriers to consistent school attendance and student success. And with that, Maria will speak about the steps RTC has taken to improve the safety of public transit.
Good afternoon, Chair and members of the committee. For the record, my name is Maria Nieto Horta, here on behalf of the Regional Transportation Commission of Southern Nevada. As you are all aware, the RTC has many responsibilities, and one of our primary functions is to serve as Southern Nevada's transit provider. The RTC transit system connects tens of thousands of residents in our community to jobs, school, medical appointments, and more, while transporting millions of visitors up and down the Las Vegas Strip. In 2024, the RTC transit system served over 52 million passengers and 1.2 million paratransit riders. As a regional transportation provider, ensuring the safety of our riders and operators is not just a goal, it's our mission. As public safety concerns have increased in recent years, the RTC has engaged with riders, drivers, security officers, and our community to develop a comprehensive, multi-pronged approach to make transit safer in Southern Nevada. This ongoing approach to safety includes a focus on continuous security data analysis, investment in security personnel and technology, strategic bus stop placement and lighting, education campaigns, and partnerships. Over the last decade, the RTC has invested over $33 million on security services and safety upgrades throughout the transit system, including an investment in armed security officers, panic buttons, and barriers for our operators. Last fiscal year, we experienced a 5% increase in ridership. During the same period, incidents decreased by 38%. While the number of incidents have decreased, even one incident is one too many. We remain committed to evaluating our programs, processes, and investments, and we will continue working with our transit community to ensure safety every day. As discussed, the RTC is constantly looking to improve transit security based on input from our transit riders, bus operators, and key community stakeholders. Over the last summer, the RTC formed a transit security discussion group that included representatives from the Amalgamated Transit Union, ATU, Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department, Clark County District Attorney's Office, ACLU, the Culinary Union, PLAN, and various community organizations and transit riders to discuss improving transit security. One of the recommendations that came from the group in order to improve the safety and efficiency of the transit system was a legislative proposal to modify Nevada Revised Statute language to authorize RTC security officers to remove passengers when necessary. The ATU and TransDev have agreed to partner with us on this important legislation, and Intercon Security, our security contractor, is fully supportive and committed to assisting. With that, I will hand it over to Kelsey to give the legal and technical overview of this bill.
Good afternoon, Chair and members of the committee. For the record, my name's Kelsey Hardy, CELSSIEHARDY, and I will conclude the presentation by giving a brief technical overview of the bill. As Senator Nguyen stated, SB 290 amends NRS 277A to grant RTC security officers the authority to remove individuals from RTC transit vehicles or other property when they engage in disruptive or unlawful behavior as defined under existing law. This bill clarifies RTC's authority to act in situations where immediate intervention is necessary for the safety of passengers and operators. Currently, RTC Security does not have explicit statutory authority to remove disruptive individuals from transit vehicles. Instead, when an incident occurs, the transit operator must stop the vehicle and contact a dispatcher in the bus operations center. That dispatcher then contacts our security team and the appropriate law enforcement agency. Depending on severity of the incident, law enforcement may issue a citation or make an arrest, but in the meantime, bus service is delayed and public resources are stretched. Nevada's trespassing laws apply to real property, not personal property like vehicles. As a result, RTC cannot classify disruptive behavior on buses as trespassing. And to be clear, this bill does not amend the trespassing statute, and we are not seeking the ability to trespass individuals from transit vehicles. Instead, SB 290 seeks to align RTC's authority with NRS 203.100, which already defines unlawful acts on public transportation and includes causing disturbances, endangering passengers, and interfering with bus operations. By referencing NRS 203.100, this bill clarifies that RTC security officers can remove individuals engaged in unlawful behavior, ensuring that transit vehicles remain safe and operational. Chair, if you'd like, I can go through the sections of the bill as there are section 1, and just codifies that the removal authority I just described. And then after that, we stand ready for questions from the committee.
Perfect. Thank you all for the presentation, and to the young student joining us in Las Vegas, thank you. Members, I'll open it up for questions at this time. Senator Ellison, please.
Met with you in the office, and we went over this bill. But it sounds like this is two parts. Number one is they can remove any cars that's within a loading, unloading zone. RTC can, correct? And that's my first question. The second question is, the problem is people that get vulgar or whatever on the bus, they can be removed by police or security from RTC. Is that correct? Other than that, that's all the bill does. Isn't that not correct?
Rochelle Nguyen, for the record. Just to clarify, what happens right now is security officers, regional transit security officers, if you are at like a transit center, like a building, and there's someone causing a disturbance, they can remove that person from the center. This kind of puts this in alignment. So right now, let's say you have a school bus full of kids that maybe are going to school as a part of CCSD's like school program, or you have people trying to get to work, and someone gets on the bus and causes a disturbance. They have to pull that bus over. The safety of all the people on the bus are at risk. Now they are all delayed in getting to either school or work or doctor's appointments or wherever they are trying to go on public transportation. It puts a lot of pressure because they can't just be simply removed from that bus. They have to wait until a law enforcement partner comes and removes that person physically from the bus, which puts another strain on our law enforcement to be able to come and respond to things. What this working group really determined is what they really needed to do was to get those buses back on the road in a safe way. And this allows those RTC security officers to come and de-escalate the situation in the best possible way and get that bus and get those kids back to school, get those people back to work, or get people to their doctor's appointments in a timely manner. Sometimes people are waiting on those buses to have like a disruptive person for like hours in order to do it, because it tends to be like lower on the priority list, which is understandably so. So what this bill does is it allows them to remove people that are being disruptive. It doesn't create a new law. It doesn't turn RTC officers, security officers, it doesn't give them the ability to trespass them out of the bus. But it does allow us to de-escalate the situation and protect our bus drivers and protect all the people that are on those buses, including school children, people trying to get to work.
Please follow up.
And I was kind of shocked when I did talk to your colleagues here that wasn't being done. So I'm glad they are addressing this. It seems to be more and more important every day than it is not. So thank you.
Senator Rogich, please.
It's nice to see you again, and thank you. I just wanted to ask you if you could please explain what occurs once the person is removed. I know we discussed it, but I think for the panel, to help them understand what occurs thereafter.
Thank you for the question, Kelsey Hardy, for the record. So the procedure currently is the bus pulls over, law enforcement is contacted, law enforcement arrives, they remove the passenger from the bus, and then law enforcement, under their existing authority, can then issue a citation or arrest the passenger if necessary. It's a case-by-case situation. The incident doesn't always rise to that need or to that level. They can also just let them go so that the bus can continue on its route. But that's what currently happens once law enforcement is on the scene and removes the passenger.
Follow up? Please.
But now with the authorization of the security officer removing the disruptive person, what happens at that point?
Thank you for the question, Kelsey Hard for the record. So under this bill, it would authorize the transit security officer to de-escalate the situation, remove the passenger without the need of law enforcement intervention, and then the passenger would be free to go. So RTC security does not have arrest authority, and again, we're not seeking to trespass the individual from the bus. There's no sort of permanent ban. It wouldn't be banning the passenger from the bus indefinitely. It's just to de-escalate, remove, and then, get the bus back on its route.
Senator Daly, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a couple of questions. And I know what we're trying to do to get the people off the bus. So how is it actually going to work? If you're at a transit station, you have security there. They're there all the time. I'm sure you don't have the ability to put a security officer on every bus. So you think they're going to be able to respond much quicker than Metro? Or the local police, because we don't have Metro in the north. But nevertheless, they're going to be able to respond quicker because you're going to have dedicated people for that to try to address these issues? Or?
Thank you for your question, Maria, for the Nieto Horta for the record. So you're correct, we don't have security officers in every bus. However, there has been strategic planning to ensure that we have rovers. And those are the folks that are roving around in their own security vehicle. And so they're everywhere throughout the valley, and there's at least one for each quadrant. And since the attainment of our intercon contract, the amount of rovers was doubled from 7 to 14, and the quadrants have shrunk. So there's at least one rover to each quadrant.
Understood, but if he's on a bus one direction and another bus going the opposite direction and they're in two different ends, he doesn't have a vehicle, he's not going to be running. You're going to have a team that would come out and respond to that. So you're still going to have the same incident, maybe just a shorter time. You're still going to stop, pull over, you're going to wait for your security person to come. You may or may not call law enforcement just based on what it was, but your immediate need is just to get them off the bus. So so you're going to have a team that's going to come out and do that every so often that they can call?
Rochelle Wynn for the record. I think part of the existing procedure is if there is a disruption, they do call down to the security team already. And then the security team makes that additional call to have law enforcement come and de-escalate that. I think what they found is when you have someone obviously who maybe has a weapon or is in those heightened things, then we will have more resources from our law enforcement partners that can address those things in a quicker time period. I think a lot of times you have buses that are taken off the roads when you just have someone who maybe is cursing a lot and maybe just needs to be de-escalated. So I think talking with all these partners, and I think that's why it's so important, is we were able to look at the different perspectives to figure out what we could do to de-escalate situations in a quicker fashion. So yes, while there are 14 people that are roving around in security vehicles, and it may just need one person in there saying, hey, I'm just going to take you off the bus. I'm not going to arrest you. I'm not going to do anything. I'm just getting you off the bus so we can get this bus moving. It will move things faster, and I think it potentially will lead to de-escalation sooner. Because when you call the police right now, something that maybe you could have just talked someone off the bus and said, I'm not going to arrest you, I'm not going to trespass you, you just need to calm down, we need you off the bus, now has escalated into a situation where Metro arrives and has to make a full arrest to get the person off the bus. So I think, in fact, this will keep our bus drivers safer and our riders safer.
I don't disagree, if again, Mr. Chair, I don't disagree. I was just trying to understand and get procedurally how you're going to do this. It will be quicker, and nothing against law enforcement, but yeah, they got a tough job, a lot of stuff to do, and unless they're right there, they got somebody else dispatching to what their priorities are as well. So understood. So what type of security people do you hire? What training do they have? Are they couldn't arrest anyway, I don't think. Are they armed? Are they not armed? What type of people are we talking about? Are these dedicated staff? Are they rented? Are they rented security officers? Or are they on staff?
Thank you so much for your question, Maria Nieto Horta, for the record. So our security officers are contracted through Intercon Security. We have 330 security officers with that contract. Last year, when we transitioned to Intercon, all security officers completed 80 hours of training in a classroom setting and 40 hours on the job training, which included 8 hours of use of force and de-escalation classroom training. Thank you.
So you have a provider that does the training, so they're not actually RTC staff. They're.
Thank you for your question, Maria Nieto Horta, for the record. Yes, that is correct, Senator.
And then I see you want to go to the one section there. This is, maybe for our senator friend over there. So what exactly is profane? Can you can you define it, right?
You know it when you hear it.
Next, we have Vice Chair Orenshaw, please.
Thank you very much, Chair, and thank you for taking the time to come and go over the bill with me. One question that came to mind today, and unfortunately I didn't think of it when we met and discussed the bill, is the way the bill's written, if it passes, and if someone, a bus rider, is removed for engaging in any of the activities at 203.100 offenses in the public conveyance, there wouldn't be any prohibition for them going to the next bus stop and getting on the next bus on that route. They wouldn't be prohibited. If, let's say, they've calmed down, the incident's over, for them to continue their route to get home or to work, if they've calmed down. Is that correct?
Kelsey Hardy for the record, yes, that's correct.
Thank you. That gives me more comfort, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you. Just one quick point of clarification for me. What is the process now if a minor wants to utilize our RTC? What's the process now?
Are you talking about through the school's RTC's Ride-On program?
Yes, please.
I'm not. Might have to phone a friend on the specific details of the Ride-On program, unless either of you know that.
We'll make sure to get Maria Nietorta for the record. We'll make sure to get you the exact process for that.
And the only reason I'm asking on that particular program, I'm thinking of a hypothetical where there's a minor involved. We're gonna have the minor get off. I would like to know that there's a trigger for the parent and/or some type of parental notification and/or an adult to know this child has been removed from this bus and they're at this location. I'm assuming the security guard would likely stay with them at that point. But I just want to make sure that and I know that that's not the intent. That's what I'm trying to flesh out. What's going to happen in that scenario? I'm assuming that employee would stay with the child and then wait either for another bus or for the parents to be notified and have somebody arrange transportation, correct?
For the record, Angela Castro, Deputy CEO with the RTC. So our Right On program and all of our programs, right now, most of them are all involve high school students. However, we know that a lot of middle school students do ride our bus. All of our operators, our bus system is known as a safe place, so they have definitely worked very hand in hand and have been trained in terms of it being a safe place. From a security perspective, when we have, and I will say on the record, we have had some challenges. The good news is that we actually, the passes are not anonymous. They're not, we don't know specifically who has what pass, but we actually, if they have to, it's on the app. So we know how many students are riding and where the students are riding from. And if we drill down even further, we also have live looking cameras on our buses. And we've also seen when if we can identify in real time to ensure that the student they in fact rode the bus. We've done that too. So you are correct. We have multiple different measures in place. We work very closely with the Clark County School District for our high school students and our middle school students, and both the officers and the operators are trained.
And that would be my only request, if we could potentially just flush that out in an instance where we're gonna kick off a minor, that we're not just gonna leave them on the side. And I know we wouldn't do that, that's common sense. It'd be too much of a liability in so many different directions, which is why I know you wouldn't do that. But if we could just potentially consider cleanup language and saying there's going to be either at the time of the registration with the app, maybe it's already a requirement that someone over the age of 18 be put as a point of contact, where there's just an automatic trigger that we're removing the minor and that they'll be notified. And or if that's not a requirement, then that we have some type of trigger with, and the officer involved or the employee who's going to remove the minor could then proceed in contacting the appropriate person.
Yeah. For the record, Angela Castro, again, Senator, duly noted, and we will be sure to include that in the policies and procedures. We have policies and procedures manuals, and we will definitely add that if it's not already added. I just need to go back and review that.
Members, any additional questions? Thank you again for the presentation. I can invite you to sit back in the gallery, and I'll invite those wishing to testify in support of Senate Bill 290 to please come forward. Good afternoon, welcome. And we'll start with the first three in Carson City, and then I'll move back up to Las Vegas, whenever you're ready.
Good afternoon, my name is Ron Williams, and I am a transit operator for Las Vegas, Nevada. I want a question you asked. It's really not some more of what you're talking about. We're trying to change the narrative. Right now, when passengers get on that bus and they bully us, they know security can't do nothing. We just want something, that's why we're supporting this bill, so that now the passengers, the word to get out that, oh, security can put you off now. Because I've been in situations where they get on the bus and actually a passenger told me, you have a better chance of getting me off than he do. That's what we're going through. So not only am I a driver for 18 years, I'm also representative of the union. I'm the executive board member for ATU 1637. And we're supporting SB 290 because the trials that we go through as bus drivers is real serious, and it's getting worse. And we need some type of deterrent. And if this is going to work, we know it's going to work. I have faith in these new security guards. I would say the ones we had before, I didn't. But RGC has done a tremendous job in training these new guys. They're sharp and they're ready. When we're on the bus with them, they feel sorry for us because they can't do nothing. They're basically monitors. So That comes with conflict with drivers. Now, we don't want them on our bus, like, you can't do nothing anyway. So this is why we're supporting SB 290, so, thank you very much.
Thank you for joining us. Good afternoon, welcome.
Good afternoon, Chair and members of the committee. My name is Jackie Spicer. I am the Coalition Coordinator with the Nevada Environmental Justice Coalition. We are a statewide coalition of community organizations that are fighting for sustainability, justice, and equity in all levels of government decision-making. We believe that Senate Bill 290 will bring us one step closer to the future that we hope to see by offering a solution to make public transit more secure for the transit riders who depend on this bus system to get to work, school, doctor's appointments, and other essential services. This is a priority for the Environmental Justice Coalition because expanding access to public transit can help reduce emissions from personal vehicle use and mitigate the worsening impacts of deadly heat, drought, and poor air quality. Safe and dependable public transportation is crucial for the sustainable, long-term growth of our communities. Last year, our coalition hosted 19 in-person community listening sessions across the state with over 200 participants, and we partnered with the Greenspun College's Public Communication Initiative at UNLV to survey over 1,000 residents statewide. These initiatives focused on understanding the lived experiences of frontline community members who are facing extreme environmental and socioeconomic challenges. We learned that safety is a top concern for transit riders. In both the community listening sessions and the digital survey results, multiple residents said they didn't feel safe either at night or as a woman, implying that women and gender nonconforming people are subjected specifically to gender-based violence and harassment on public transportation. This must change for us to achieve a future where all Nevadans can access safe, reliable, and affordable public transportation options. We encourage the committee to vote yes on this important legislation. Thank you for your time and dedication to the people of our state.
Thank you for joining us. Welcome.
Chairman Flores and members of the committee, my name is Joshua Martinez, Joshuamartinez. I represent the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department. We're here in support of SB 290. This is a long overdue tool for RTC security to protect the bus riders as well as their drivers. This will give them the ability, as you heard earlier, to take action and remove unruly individuals, and they've been trained in the de-escalation techniques. And a lot of the response from Metro is exactly as you heard from the previous testimonies, where they will have an encounter with an individual, they'll pull over the bus, and then they'll summons us. In some cases, they're simple, where we de-escalate the situation, and then sometimes they're a little bit more advanced, where we have to use different tools to de-escalate. One event that I had to respond to as a captain of the use of force team that we oversee is we had an unruly passenger on a bus that was using types of rocks and stuff. So the driver pulled over, of course, got off the bus so they could be at a safe distance, and our officers had to go in there to de-escalate the situation. We had to use a canine, and then the subject bit our officer's ear off. So those are just the kind of the extreme circumstances that take place. Sometimes, not all the time, most of the time they are the typical removals that you'll see. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Ryan Beeman, for the record, representing the professional firefighters in Nevada. Thank you for the opportunity to speak on support of SB 290. I'm a firefighter serving our community for the last 29 years, also as a paramedic with a strong commitment to public safety. I'm here today to express my support for this important legislation, which proposes revisions to the Security Operation and Regional Transportation Commission. As a firefighter, I witnessed firsthand the importance of maintaining safe environments for the public, particularly shared spaces such as the transportation hubs. These areas play a vital role in connecting our community and ensuring that the security is critical to the well-being of all citizens. And SB 290 empowers designated security personnel to address this disruptive behavior, unlawful behavior, effectively enhancing the safety of passengers and workers and the first responders alike. And it was already mentioned a little bit earlier that, majority of the time these calls come in, they go through the 911 system. 911 activates law enforcement and fire, and we're usually responding majority of the time to these type of calls. When we arrive, there is a security guard sometimes there, standing outside of the bus, is not able to remove the patient or the person from the bus. And a lot of the times as fire, we're able to remove that person from the bus. With this piece of important legislation, it'll actually help with us not having to respond to these calls and keeping us available for other type of services that the community actually needs. So I urge your committee to pass SB 290 as this takes a significant step towards reinforcing the safety for the public. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. Out of respect to, please join us up here, but I am going to go to Las Vegas. I kept them waiting a little bit. Whoever wishes to start in Las Vegas, please.
Hello, my name is Derek Culpepper. I'm the Security Project Manager representing Intercon Security. Thank you for providing me with the opportunity to be heard. As someone who works daily to ensure the safety of our public transit system, I've seen firsthand the challenges that we face when we're dealing with disruptive and unlawful behavior. Our security teams are committed to protecting passengers, operators, and the broader community. Every day, our security teams respond to incidents that disrupt transit operations, some of which put passengers and employees at risk. Right now, when an issue arises, the transit operator has to stop the vehicle, contact a dispatcher, wait for law enforcement to arrive. This creates a risk of service delays and increases the potential for the situation to escalate while we're waiting on that law enforcement response. I understand that one of SB 290's goals is to mitigate this risk by allowing trained RTC security officers to take immediate action to help ensure the safety is restored quickly and efficiently. Since Intercon took over transit security operations at RTC, we've witnessed a 38% drop in security-related incidents, even as ridership has gone up by 5%. I firmly believe that this is due to our strong security presence and our ability to de-escalate these situations before they evolve into larger problems. Giving RTC security officers the ability to handle certain safety issues directly themselves without delay can allow us to build on this success and continue making transit safer and more efficient for all riders. At the end of the day, my goal and the goal of the entire Intercon team is to improve safety. Our security team is on the ground every day, ensuring that people can get to where they need to go without fear or disruption. Having the tools and authority to act quickly, de-escalate these issues effectively, and better protect the people who rely on public transit every day are critical to our ability to achieve this goal. I understand the objective of SB 290 is to create a safer public transit system and ensure the better protection of passengers, operators, and employees alike. These are objectives that I strongly support. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you for joining us. We do have a quick question for you, sir, if you don't mind, from our Senator Orenshaw, our Vice Chair. Please.
Thank you, Chair. And thank you, Mr. Culpepper. It sounds like Intercom is going a long way to try to make bus riding safer. Quick question I have. What is the protocol now if, let's say, a juvenile is considered unruly and needs to be asked to leave the bus because maybe they're doing something in violation of one of the statutes? Are they asked to leave? Is a parent called? Just wondered if you could tell me what's the current protocol if a juvenile is asked to get off the bus for being unruly.
Thank you so much for the question, Vice Chair. Presently, we follow the rules and regulations set forth by RTC in accordance with our contract, and we follow the standard operating procedure that they set forth.
A brief follow-up, Mr. Chair?
Please.
And is that, could you provide us a little more information about what that entails? Is a parent or guardian called? Is the child given another bus pass so they can try to get home? Do you have any information about that, Mr. Culpepper?
Yeah, thanks again, Mr. Vice Chair. Presently, we follow the standard operating procedure set forth by RTC. We do make every effort in order to contact the minor's parents.
Thank you, Mr. Culpepper. Thank you, Chair. And thank you. Ms. Castro, do you have more information you can provide if that's okay, Chair?
Please.
Yes, according to policies and procedures, if there is a high school student, for example, who has, could be disruptive, et cetera, and we've had them, we do take them off the bus. We will try to contact either the school, work with CCSD, or the parent.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you.
That is in our policies and procedures.
Thank you. You know, a lot of the kids I work with in juvenile court may not have a cell phone, or if they do have a cell phone, a lot of the times it'll only work when they have Wi-Fi. And if they're not in an area where they have Wi-Fi, then they can't communicate. So that gives me more comfort.
For the record, Angela Castro, again, our buses are Wi-Fi equipped as well. So a lot of them use the buses to access the Wi-Fi. So you are correct.
Thank you, Chair.
And thank you again. We'll continue with support in Las Vegas for Senate Bill 290.
Thank you, Chairman and members of the committee. My name is Vinny Spottelson. I am testifying in favor of Senate Bill 290 on behalf of the Sierra Club's Toyabe chapter. At Sierra Club, we're the largest environmental grassroots organization, and we want more people to ride the bus. Just first off, on the safety aspect, you are much more likely to die in a car accident than with anything related to the bus. So every time somebody gets in a car, they're taking a much bigger risk than anybody who is boarding an RTC bus is taking. But this would add to that additional, the buses are safe, but this would make them even safer. But the reason that we really like this is that it helps the efficiency. We want people to ride the bus. One of the main reasons people don't ride the bus is because it takes a long time to get where they're going. The bus is great for avoiding car pollution because pollution from vehicles is the #1 source of pollution in Nevada right now. So the more we can do to reduce that, the better it will be for our air quality, for our climate, for our health, et cetera. And so for these buses to not have to wait for a police officer, especially for a minor incident, because if there's a major incident, the police can still be called. This doesn't preclude that. That will keep the buses going faster. That'll make it more likely that people can get where they're going and be able to ride again the next time. So we are in support because of the environmental benefits. I just want to take one moment. I'm also a high school teacher. I teach at Valley High School. A lot of my students ride the bus. And my wife worked for the Nevada Partnership for Homeless Youth for over 10 years administering the Safe Pace program. And so I can just say, both from the experience of my students that ride the bus and from her experience of running that Safe Place program, the RTC does a fantastic job of taking care of our teenagers here in the Valley. The bus drivers are trained. They have the appropriate safeguards. They know what to do in all kinds of situations, from everything from a couple of high school students that, were getting into it at school, didn't want to get expelled, so they took it to the bus, to a homeless student that's in dire need of emergency services. The RTC does a fantastic job. And I just want to thank you for bringing this up, Senator Orenshaw especially. It's a valid concern, but they do a great job. Thank you.
And thank you for joining us. Next individual in support of Senate Bill 290 in Las Vegas.
Good afternoon, Chair and committee members. I'm Leslie Vega, L-E-S-L-I-E-V-E-G-A. I'm with the Progressive Leadership Alliance of Nevada, and I'm also a public transit customer. Back in 2024, Plan was invited and was able to participate in the RTC's Transit Service Development Group. And we're in support of this bill. Safe and accessible public transportation is essential for all communities, especially those that rely on transit. SB 290 ensures that safety measures are implemented fairly and transparently. I'd like to share that since 2023, I've relied on the RTC, specifically the bus lines 109, the Centennial Express, and the 108 for daily transportation. As part of my work at Plan, I collect and document experiences of transit riders, both at the Bonneville Transit Center and among Plan's supporters. When I speak to riders, they share their experiences with me. They depend on the RTC to get to their jobs, to important appointments with the IRS, with medical specialists, appointments that cannot be rescheduled at their convenience, and also job interviews. What I've learned through my work and also through my personal experience is that RTC drivers are under immense stress. They're focused on the road. They're operating large vehicles, and sometimes they serve as the primary authority figures on a vehicle that's traveling 45 miles per hour with an average of 20 folks on the bus. So for a safer, more efficient transit system, we must invest in solutions that directly address these challenges. A well-funded RTC can invest in mental health crisis teams to de-escalate situations before they become dangerous. They can improve infrastructure to create safer stops in transit centers and enhance operator training to equip drivers with the skills to handle the disruption safely. We need to strengthen transit safety for both riders and drivers. SB 290 will give RTC's security team the authority to remove disruptive and unlawful individuals from transit property, reducing service interruptions and making public transportation safer for the 150,000 people that depend on them daily. So again, I urge you to vote in favor of SB 290 to strengthen security measures and protect drivers, riders, and their passengers. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. We'll come back down to Carson City, whoever wishes to go next.
Good afternoon, Chair Flores and members of the hardworking Senate Committee on Government Affairs. For the record, Leonardo Benavides, representing the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. We are here today in support of SB 90. UNLV's Criminal Justice Department did participate in the Transit Security Discussion Group, as noted earlier, and provided research associated with the bill's recommendation. Coming into this legislative session, one of our legislative priorities is campus safety, and so we believe that SB 90 will provide a safer, more reliable system by allowing security personnel to take appropriate action against disruptive passengers. And it is an extension of campus safety because many of our students and staff depend on this public transit. So we are in support of this bill as a necessary step towards a safer transit environment for all riders, including our university community. We appreciate RTC for their continued collaboration and partnership with UNLV, and we're happy to support this bill today. Thank you.
And thank you for joining us, please.
Good afternoon, Chair Flores, Vice Chair Orshall, members of the Senate Government Affairs Committee. My name is Wesley Harper. I am the Director of Government Affairs for the City of North Las Vegas. The city is strongly in support of this bill. This is important legislation. Having safe, reliable public transportation is essential. RTC has done an excellent job at figuring out the best way forward, putting together the process and the procedures in order to roll this out properly and correctly, and we have every confidence in them. We thank Senator Nguyen for bringing this bill forward. Thank you very much for allowing my statement of support.
Thank you again. Please.
Thank you, Chair Flores, members of the Senate Government Affairs Committee. My name is John Jones, Johnjones. I'm here on behalf of the Clark County District Attorney's Office. As mentioned by the presenters, my office did participate in the Transit Security Discussion Group, and we just wanted to get our support of SB 290 on the record. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Welcome.
Hi, good evening. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Michael Hillary from RTC Washoe, here to add our support to the bill and thank our colleagues in Southern Nevada for a great deal of hard work on a very thoughtful approach to the problem. Thank you.
And thank you. Welcome.
Good afternoon, Chair, members of the committee. For the record, David Cherry, Government Affairs Manager for the City of Henderson. Councilman Jim Seebach with the City of Henderson sits on the RTC Board of Commissioners. Obviously, we value the services that are provided to our community, whether those are those for those who live in Henderson and rely on public transit, or those who come to our community for work to enjoy our parks and recreational programming, or to just to visit friends and family. So it's important that we keep everyone safe, and I'm proud to add my ditto here of SB 2.
Thank you for joining us. Anybody else wishing to testify in support of Senate Bill 290? Seeing none, BPS, is there anybody wishing to join us over the phone in support of Senate Bill 290?
If you would like to testify in support of SB 290, please press *9 now to take your place in the queue.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Cyrus Hojati. I'm sorry, I'm in the middle of a taxi ride. My apologies. I represent Strong Towns, Las Vegas, and no. Back up. I'm sorry. It's very busy out here. I support this bill, even though I'm a cab driver. I am the local chapter leader of Strong Towns, Las Vegas. We are an organization that represents transit-oriented development. We hope that this bill would increase transit use. We see more bus rapid transit lanes. safety is very, very important. In fact, I myself, I live next door to the Palms. If I want to get to the Strip, it's a lot more efficient and quicker than having to drive into the Strip and get into the parking, and even if it's for free. So other than that, this is going to really help us a lot. And heck, there's people that will use taxis because they don't want to use buses because heck, they're concerned about safety, and a lot of those people may not even have the money. So, and by the way, more transit use is going to clear up the lanes so we have better traffic flow driving around. Anyway, my apologies. I'm in Caesar's Palace. It's hustle and bustle. Thank you so much, and I will yield my time. I'll echo the comments.
All right. Thank you for your passion, sir. Next caller in support, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. For the record, Kelly Crompton, representing the city of Las Vegas, KELLY CROMPTON. I'd like to echo the comments of those who have gone before me. The city's MORE team partners with the RTC to provide resources to those experiencing hardship, and public transit is a vital resource for many of those individuals. The City of Las Vegas's MORE team also participated in the Transit Security Discussion Group, and therefore we are here in support of SB 290. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. Next caller in support, please.
Caller with the last 3 digits of 108, please press *6 to unmute yourself. Please continue.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. My name is Henry Lay, and I'm a resident of Senate District 3. I'm a student at Clark High School and a member of the High School Democrats. On behalf of our club, I support SB 290. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. Next caller in support, please.
Hello, everybody. This is me again, JC Giancarlo. I ran for office before. I actually am a fan of Strong Towns, Nevada. We had a meeting last week, and we were actually, I was talking to a young lady. She was telling me she felt very unsafe in Las Vegas, walking to the stores, even taking the bus transit. And I'm in support of this bill, but I'm very surprised how long it's taking you guys to actually give the security officers clearance and jurisdiction to be able to remove a disruptive person off the bus. Like, this is so common sense. And then it took us 30 minutes to even talk about it. But I do want to say that I appreciate the RTC drivers. And I was actually impressed by the chair. I think the chair was talking about the app and parents. See, that should be the focus. The kids should be the focus. We should put children first. And the app needs some integration. It needs to be much better. If you look at the app hasn't changed since the whole time I've lived here. It could be more interactive. Parents need to be hooked up on the app with their kids, and they can, where they can monitor their own child wherever their child's going, if their child's going to school, all that kind of stuff. But the app could be like 5 times better. I would say also think about raising the fare. We would have less of these bums causing trouble on the bus if we just raise the price a little bit. So that's another option. But yeah, that's all I got to say. All right. Thank you.
Thank you for calling in. Next caller in support, please.
Thank you, committee members and chair. This is Brittany Walker, City Attorney for Boulder City, and I'm calling to express my support of Senate Bill 290. Thank you.
And thank you for joining us. Next caller in support, please.
Caller, please continue. You're unmuted.
Hello, I'm sorry. My name is Ashley Cole, Area General Manager representing TransDev.
I represent and manage all of the operators that operate the fixed route service for RTC. And this bill is very important to not only our operators, but the customers. We have a lot of experiences where a disruptive customer can impact not only the timeliness of the other customers getting to their destinations, but in some cases, they create conflict with other customers, and the security officers are not able to do anything to assist not only the operators, but the customers that are impacted. So TransDev is in support of this bill as well.
And thank you for joining us. Next caller in support, please.
Yes, hi, my name is Al. My name is Al Rojas. I'm calling from Las Vegas, Nevada. I am in total support of this bill, and I'm hoping we have more bills that are going to protect our drivers. We saw on TV here where one driver got smacked. He got hit by a homeless person, and then he got stomped on, broke some ribs. I like to see at least a cage and maybe some tougher prosecution where our bus drivers have more protection. If you touch a bus driver, your penalties are higher than just assaulting a normal citizen. But I am in support of the bill, and I want to thank those presenters for it. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. Next caller, please.
Chair, you have no more callers wishing to testify in support at this time.
Thank you. At this time, I'd like to invite those wishing to testify in opposition, Carson City or Las Vegas, to please come forward. Seeing none, BPS, do we have anybody wishing to testify in opposition over the phone?
Chair, your public line is open and working, but you have no callers to testify at this time.
We'll stay on the phone line. Is there anybody wishing to testify in the neutral position?
If you would like to testify neutral on SB 290, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue.
Good day, Chair Flores. This is Dora Martinez. I actually wanted to call in support, but I was a bit too slow. May I please proceed?
No worries. Go proceed, please.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. I represent the Nevada Disability Pre-Action Coalition, as you may know, and some of our members, we have all over throughout the state, and they are disabled, and we really 100% behind this bill. We thank Senator Wynn. She rocked. Thank you for bringing this bill, and I just hope that the bus drivers are similar to the RTC Washoe, where they will have the plexiglass to protect them, and hopefully there'll be like an alarm to for a customer to press to send distress calls. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next caller in the neutral position for Senate Bill 290.
Chair, you have no more callers wishing to testify neutral at this time.
Understood. Thank you. Lastly, anybody wishing to testify in the neutral position, Carson City or Las Vegas? We do have somebody in Carson City. Please proceed.
Good evening. My name is Tia Smith, TIA-SMITH. I'm a policy attorney with ACLU of Nevada. ACLU of Nevada was a part of the discussion in creating this policy, and we want to state our appreciation for being included in the discussion. Thank you.
And thank you for joining us. Anybody else wishing to testify in the neutral position? Seeing none, I'll invite Senator Wynn. Any closing remarks, please?
Only briefly, I appreciate this committee's time and thoughtful questions, especially around like how we handle juvenile issues. It's definitely something that we are going to get back together with this big group of people that have been working so hard to bring this piece of legislation to see what we currently do and what we do. Again, this bill is meant to give to use appropriate de-escalation techniques. I believe in some circumstances right now, just like when you're removing any disruptive passenger, you have to call Metro or a law enforcement agency, and I imagine that would be the same with children right now. And so rather than have them enter into a juvenile detention situation because they are being removed from a bus, hopefully with the passage of this bill, we will also have other tools to also de-escalate and create a safe environment for those children that are being asked to be removed from the bus as well. But we will continue and follow up with the committee to answer all the questions that you have regarding that and any possible amendments. So thank you so much.
And thank you, Senator. Members, I don't think we have any additional questions. Thank you again, Senator. With that, we'll go ahead and close out the hearing on Senate Bill 290. And at this time, I'd like to invite Senator Doñate to come forward to present Senate Concurrent Resolution number 2. And I do believe we have somebody that will be joining us in Las Vegas for Senate Concurrent Resolution number 2. If you could please make your way down to the microphone. Good afternoon, welcome. Senator, whenever you're ready.
Thank you so much, Chair, and good afternoon to the members of the Senate Committee on Government Affairs. For the record, my name is Fabian Doñate, and I represent Senate District 10 in Central Las Vegas. I'm here today to talk and present on Senate Concurrent Resolution 2, which recognizes the Fruit Loop as a historical landmark in Clark County, Nevada, and I'm joined by business and community leaders down south in Las Vegas. So a little history on the context of the bill. So last September, you can see this news article. I was tagged in a couple of TikTok videos showing Las Vegas patrons running across the street. This was on Paradise Road and Naples Drive, right by UNLV. So a few folks were tagging me on this video, and so in the video, I noticed that there were folks that were running across the street, darting across because there was no crosswalk available for them. It caught my attention, and it made me question why wasn't there a stoplight and a crosswalk available. And so this news article was published. It interviewed a few community business folks. And so at that time in place, I decided to submit, as part of the same way that we would all do, I submitted a request to Clark County so that they can, Clark County Public Works, so that they can investigate and see what the infrastructure needed to be able to repair the missing crosswalk that we noticed individuals through their actions. But through that moment, we were able to bring together community leaders. I felt that it was probably important to talk to the business owners in my district as to why this was important and to understand their concerns regarding the infrastructure. Through that process, I had learned that they had been asking for a better infrastructure, not just recently, but actually for the last 3 decades. In fact, our conversations uncovered a long history of struggles with the city or with the county due to the area's association with the community, and the absence of a stoplight was simply a bigger issue, and that gave me the green light to start a conversation about how we can best honor the community and fix the infrastructure in this area. The Fruit Loop, located on East Naples Drive, South Paradise Road, and South University Center Drive in Las Vegas, is a historically significant LGBTQ+ hub, fostering activism, community building, and cultural contributions since the 1950s. The Nevada Legislature has, through this bill, would officially recognize the Fruit Loop as a historical landmark, emphasizing its role in promoting inclusivity, acceptance, and understanding. The Fruit Loop will then through this proposed amendment that you can look at. There's a few technical changes, so I'm going to refer you to the proposed amendment. Through the proposed amendment, the Fruit Loop would collaborate with the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority and the Nevada Division of Tourism to enhance its visibility through marketing materials and directional language, with costs underwritten by the Lambda Business Association. The recognition aims to preserve the legacy of the Fruit Loop, support the history of Nevada, and encourage ongoing advocacy for the area's cultural and historical significance. A little bit about the background of this area. So the foundation of the Fruit Loop as a center for queer entrepreneurship dates back to the 1950s when Club Black Magic first opened. These early businesses were more than just bars and nightclubs. They were a safe space for many of the community members to come and gather and build connections at a time when such spaces were rare and deeply needed. By the late 1980s and the early 1990s, the Fruit Loop began to see a broader mix of businesses. The founding of the Las Vegas Bugle in 1986 established a media presence that gave a voice to the community. And in 1990, the Lambda Studio Community Apartments opened, marking a rare example of housing specifically marketed to queer residents. The 1990s saw a boom in nightlife and retail. In 1992, the Spotlight Cafe opened at 4637 South Paradise Road, and the Step Above Video Store opened the same year. Meanwhile, the Bright Pink Literature Bookstore became a key cultural touchstone before transitioning to Get Booked in 1993. A major milestone came in early July of 2000 with the first published reference to the area as known as the Fruit Loop. This marked a significant shift where the Fruit Loop was no longer an informal gathering place, but a recognized cultural and business district. Fruit Loops were more than just a name, too. Actual Fruit Loops were distributed at protests and festivals as a symbolic token of solidarity. Even after the closure of some legacy venues, new businesses have stepped in to fill the void, but current infrastructure does not reflect this long-standing community space. Just as we've seen with other cultural districts like Chinatown, official designation and signage will not only validate the historical importance of this area, but it would also help with the safety and tourism aspects as well. The Lambda Business Association has stepped up, offering to underwrite the cost of the requested directional signage, and through the amendment, the Nevada Department of Transportation would work with the Fruit Loop for their willingness to install the proposed exit signs in the signage to recognize the historical landmark of it. This is a key step in making sure that the Fruit Loop is more visible and accessible to both locals and visitors, driving more business to this area. And lastly, by celebrating the area's rich cultural history and its ongoing impact on the community, we can ensure that the Fruit Loops legacy continues to thrive for generations to come. And Chair, if it's okay at this time, I'd like to turn it over to a few of the folks down in Southern Nevada to talk more about the cultural significance of this area.
Absolutely. Thank you, Senator. We'll go to Las Vegas.
Rob Schlegel. I am representing myself, but I also at the time used to own the bookstore called Bright Pink Literature. And before I forget, for the record, my name is spelled ROBSCHLEGEL. At one time, I had the Bright Pink Literature bookstore, which was a feminist, gay, lesbian, and recovery bookstore. And I also managed the Lambda Apartments, which was a gay and lesbian apartment complex owned by Ed Euling at the far east end of Naples. And of course, I also published the Las Vegas Bugle newspaper at the time. The Fruit Loop, it's kind of confusing why it was called that, but it had to do with the airport making a loop coming off of Swenson, which is now University. They would have the cars turn onto Naples and go one way on Naples heading west. And then they would either turn south onto Paradise Road to go to Tropicana, or they would turn to the right going north on Paradise Road going to Flamingo. The airport distinctively did not want the gay and lesbian bars or their gay bars to be in the area. So the airport under Bob Broadbent and Randy Walker worked to get rid of the parking in the area. And the name Fruit Loop was really kind of an in your face to Bob Broadbent and Randy Walker, because they were trying to put the bars out of business by taking away their parking. And to do that, they purchased the vacant lot next door to the bar known as Gilo's at the time, and now known as Piranha. At one time, 100 to 200 cars would park there every night, maybe 300 cars on the weekend. But the idea of the Fruit Loop was just kind of an in-your-face to Bob Broadbent and Randy Walker. And I think that needs to be acknowledged. Things have changed a lot. I think the airport is supportive of the gay and lesbian business district. The county has been very supportive. And even the RTC in changing the streets in the area. They changed the one-way direction from Naples Road to make it go two ways. We were able to add that stoplight and the first crosswalk on the north side back in, I don't recall the year, but it was the year that we helped get Chris Giunciliani elected to the county commission. So we were only able to get one crosswalk on the north side. And so recently, because of additional traffic, we worked with the RTC and Senator Fabian to get a crosswalk on the south side of the intersection at Naples and Paradise. So I am in support of this. I just want the historical record to reflect the reason it's called the Fruit Loop. And it's very similar to the word queer. Once upon a time, the word queer was a derogatory comment about people. You would be called queer, and it was meant as an insult. Fruit was the same way, and so our friend Ed Euling, who owned property in the area, came up with the idea of calling it the Fruit Loop and reclaiming the word fruit and making it into a positive thing instead of a negative slur. So that's basically what it is. And since that time, I sold the bookstore, Bright Pink Literature. It's now called Get Booked, and now it's more of a gift store than a bookstore. And I no longer publish the Las Vegas Bugle, but I do on occasion publish the Las Vegas Spectrum. And if you have questions about it, I'd be happy to answer them.
Senator Duñat, I don't know if we would want to go to the other two presenters.
Yes, please. If we can have Garrett go next, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Garrett Pattiani. That's Garrett. Pattiani is Pattiani. I'm here in support of SCR2, recognizing the Fruit Loop as a historical site. Good afternoon, members of the Senate Committee of Government Affairs. I'm honored to be here as a business owner, as a historian, and an advocate for the LGBTQ community. I am the co-owner of Q Vegas Magazine, the lineage to Rob's magazine that he mentioned, which is part of this long-standing history since 1978. I served on the board of the LGBTQ Center of Southern Nevada. I was the director of events for Aid for AIDS of Nevada, and I also work at Gypsy and Piranha nightclubs in the heart of what we call the Fruit Loop. As a Nevada native with deep family roots in Las Vegas since 1955, I'm committed to preserving the legacy of LGBTQ spaces that have shaped this city. The Fruit Loop is a cultural and economic powerhouse. The Fruit Loop is more than just a nightlife district. It's a historic and economic anchor for the LGBTQ tourism in Las Vegas. Thousands of visitors come here every weekend, contributing millions of dollars to the local economy. Las Vegas is a global LGBTQ destination, and the Fruit Loop plays a crucial role in that success. The venues in this district have defined the LGBTQ nightlife for decades. Piranha, staple for 18 years, is one of the busiest LGBTQ nightclubs in the nation. Gypsy nightclub, an LGBTQ institution for over 40 years, was once home to Disco Fever and Village Station before the name change, and was prominent in nightlife in the 1970s and 1980s, similar to disco venues like the ones in New York. Today, after a $5 million renovation, these two clubs are the top-ranked nightclubs in all of Las Vegas. In recent awards, Piranha and Gypsy took the top 2 places for the best of Las Vegas, and Piranha placed 3rd overall, contending with the high-end ones on the Strip. But the Fruit Loop is more than just these two clubs. It has been a home for several businesses that have played vital roles in the community. Quad's Video Bar, previously known as the Buffalo, has been a longstanding favorite for gaming and socializing, keeping the tradition of welcoming LGBTQ spaces alive and contributing to the gaming sector, such as Piranha and Gypsy as well. Get Booked is one of the longest running LGBTQ bookstores in the country. Each of these businesses has contributed to making the Fruit Loop not only a place for nightlife, but a gathering place, tax revenue for the city, the wedding industry where we have ceremonies and bachelor and bachelorette parties, and of course, a cultural landmark for our community. It's a hub beyond nightlife. It also serves more than just a place to dance. This is a place where history, entertainment, and community intersect. Both clubs partner with Sin City Classic, the world's largest LGBTQ sporting event that comes to Las Vegas, as well as other major festivals. We host fundraisers, art shows, fashion events, drag brunches, and it brings people in from all walks of life, not just LGBTQ community. A lot of our allies love these events. Gypsy was also the state's first HIV/AIDS fundraiser in 1983. And today, our weekly Show Kids Sundays actually continues the tradition of featuring Las Vegas Strip performers, ensuring that local talent has a space to shine. We hire and book RuPaul's Drag Race queens from past and present seasons. We showcase international DJs, entertainers, and keep Las Vegas at the forefront of LGBTQ nightlife. For decades, the Fruit Loop has welcomed entertainment icons who embraced our community. Liberace, Siegfried and Roy, Cher, Bette Midler, Joan Rivers, Neil Sedaka, and Kenny Kerr, just to name a few, all spent time here. Janet Jackson has visited the establishments for years and just recently revisited, showing that it remains a cultural touch point for celebrities and allies alike. It matters because preserving our community's history is so important. to provide spaces for protecting and evolving the entertainment and uplifting our community. I urge you to pass this bill and join other cities like New York's Stonewall Monument, San Francisco's Castro District, and give the Fruit Loop the recognition that it deserves. Thank you.
Chair Fabian Nunez for the record. And next, I'd like to turn it over to Billy, please.
Hi, sorry, but my name is Billy Pileski, Billy Pilesky, and I'm here representing Quads Video Bar. It is a LGBTQ bar located in the heart of the Fruit Loop. You know, as members of the LGBTQ community, it is important for us that we have a place where we could go and we are free to be ourselves and, you know, be who we are without fear of either being discriminated against or harassed. And, you know, a place where everybody is welcome to go and, you know, to be themselves and not only have fun, but also where they could feel safe. And that's what the Fruit Loop has provided to the LGBTQ community for decades now. It has been a place where people are able to go, they could be themselves, but they are also able to be safe and have fun. So the recognition of the Fruit Loop as a historical area or landmark really just kind of, you know, helps to recognize and confirm how important this area is to the LGBTQ community. And the recognition of this as a historic area will hopefully promote more gay-owned and gay-operated businesses to kind of come into the area to help build up the area. And it's something that will also help to preserve this area for future generations. So it will continue to be a safe place for members of the LGBTQ community. So I urge you guys to pass this resolution, and thank you.
Thank you so much, Fabian Nunez, for the record. Just one last thing before we take it on to questions. I did want to give a shout out and thank Dennis McBride for helping me develop the chronological events of this area. He made my job incredibly more easier in terms of looking at the research. And so I just wanted to express my deep gratitude to him and some of the other folks that helped me in drafting this bill. But that concludes our presentation, and we're happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. And thank you all for the presentation. At this time, we'll open it up for questions. We'll start with Vice Chair Orenshaw.
Senator Dunyate, thank you very much for bringing the bill. You know, through the years, I've attended many different events in that area. I think one of the most moving ones that stands out in my memory is going to a National Coming Out Day event and, you know, seeing people crying, you know, calling their family and, you know, opening up to them. And it was, you know, very, very powerful, and it'll always stick with me. One question I have from Mr. Slagle, and thank you for your presentation, Mr. Slagle, and thanks for everything you've done, you know, for Las Vegas and with your publications. But my recollection was when you had your bookstore in that area, this was a time when if someone was wanting to find books, they were exploring their sexuality, their gender identity, there was no Amazon. There were no very limited internet booksellers. The kind of books that you had on your shelves were not things someone could find at Borders or Barnes & Noble. So it was something very special for Las Vegas then, for people to be able to access books at your bookstore. Is my memory correct? I wonder if you could elaborate a little bit about that.
Thank you, Senator. I remember you back when you were, I think your mother was probably in your position and you were a little guy. But yes, the only place to buy gay and lesbian and feminist and recovery books was at Bright Pink Literature. We served the needs of the gay and lesbian community, of course, our primary market, but we also served the feminist market, and we also served people working in the behavioral health care market, in the recovery market, because they didn't have any books available for them or their clients. And at the time, places like Barnes & Noble did not even exist. Now, we sort of stopped selling books eventually because Barnes & Noble took over the the cream of the crop of what we would sell. We might have 3,000 or 5,000 books in the store, but you would have maybe 400 or 500 books that would turn over and sell repeatedly, and that was your income. But when the big chain bookstores came along, they took the books that would sell repeatedly, the 400 or 500 copies, titles, and kind of sucked the market out from underneath us. And then, of course, the internet, Amazon and so forth, killed off most of the chain bookstores also. So it was a gathering place. It was a place where people called. We were kind of an information switchboard. At the time, there wasn't a gay and lesbian community center, so we took those calls at my newspaper office or at the bookstore. And in fact, the current Get Booked still has the original number from my bookstore and from the Las Vegas Bugle. So it was a cultural place, and it was a gathering place. I loved working in that bookstore.
Thank you very much, Mr. Segal. And that was my recollection, that you filled a gap and provided books that, there'd probably be nowhere else someone would be able to get those books, certainly in Southern Nevada. So thank you again, and thank you, Senator Dunyate, for bringing the bill.
Thank you for the recognition.
Members, any additional questions? Wanted to say thank you again for the presentation. And at this time, I'd like to invite you sit back in the gallery, Senator. And anybody wishing to speak in support, if you could please come forward, either in Carson City or Las Vegas. Good afternoon, sir. Whenever you're ready.
Good afternoon, Senator Flores, Vice Chair Orenshaw, Tony Ramirez with Make the Road Nevada, that's TonyRamirez, and we are in support of this resolution and urge the committee to support as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else wishing to testify in support? I do see folk in Las Vegas. Good afternoon, welcome. Please, whenever you're ready.
Good afternoon. My name is Ed Euling, Uhling. It's hard to add to what was already said, really, but I would like to point out a couple of, they did a great job of telling about the area. I'd like to add a couple of things. So these are old figures, but of the 40 million tourists who visit Las Vegas, it's calculated about 7% of them are gay or identify as gay or LGBTQ persons. And but this 7% brings 14% of the income from tourists. As I say, these are old figures. I can't imagine that they've changed much. So, but the area, the Fruit Loop only attracts about 10% of those of the 2.8 million LGBTQ tourists, and it's really important that we be able to develop additional businesses in that area. So I really request that you change the borders that were on the map, at least, so you take in the full 6 or 7 acres of west going west on East Naples Drive to the river, or whatever you call it, the drainage canal at the end of at the dead end of that street. So thank you very much for considering this, and thank you for listening to the very educated comments of the other people. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. Please, next person in support. I think I see former Senator Parks there. Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you. Good afternoon, Chair Flores, Vice Chair Orenshaw, and members of the Senate Government Affairs Committee. For the record, I'm David Parks, David Parks. Without being redundant, I simply like to voice my support for SCR 2 and thank Senator Donate for introducing this bill. For 16 of my 24 years as a legislator, the intersections of Paradise, University Center, and Naples were located in my Assembly and Senate districts. Thank you for the privilege of your time. Should you have any questions, I'd be happy to try and answer. Thank you.
It's great seeing you. Thank you for joining us.
Good afternoon, Chair Flores, Vice Chair Orenshaw, and members of the committee. My name is Andre Wade, ANDRE, WADE, and I'm the State Director for Silver State Equality, and we are in support of SCR2. Recognizing the Fruit Loop as a historical site coincides with its decades-long history of being a hub of LGBTQ+ businesses and social activities. So we urge you to support SCR2. Thank you.
And thank you for joining us. Is there anybody else in Las Vegas wishing to testify in support? Seeing none, BPS, can we go to the phone lines? Anybody wishing to testify in support?
If you would like to testify in support of SCR2, please press *9 now to take your place in the queue. Again, if you would like to testify in support, please press *9 now.
Good evening, Chair and members of the committee. My name is Matthew Wilkie, WILKIE for the record. Just calling in support. Thank you for your time.
And thank you for joining us. Next caller in support, please.
Good afternoon, Chair, members of the committee. For the record, my name is Erika Castro, ERIKACAS Sharo, and I live in Senate District 4 and Assembly District 7 here on behalf of the Progressive Leadership Alliance for Nevada. I'm calling today in full support of SCR2 because as a lesbian kid, I always craved a place that felt safe and welcoming. Being undocumented and queer meant always wondering where I truly belonged. I wanted to be surrounded by people who were like me, not questioning my existence or poking fun at it because they didn't understand. As an adult, I have turned to the Fruit Loop at many points of my life. I celebrated my 21st birthday there. I healed from breakups and found long life friends at the dance floor. But more importantly, I found community. I found a space that doesn't look at me funny for the way that I love. Instead, it celebrates our existence and honors our differences. These spaces are critical, especially at a time when we are seeing the heightened persecution of these communities. SCR2 sends a strong message that our communities will not be erased. Instead, they will be recognized for the contributions to the broader community. I urge you to join our clear celebration and support this resolution to finally recognize the Fruit Loop as our historical LGBTQ community. Thank you.
Thank you. Next caller in support, please.
Chair, you have no more callers wishing to testify in support at this time.
Thank you. At this time, I'd like to invite those in Carson City or Las Vegas to please come forward in opposition. Seeing none, BPS, do we have anybody wishing to join us over the phone in opposition?
If you would like to testify in opposition of SCR2, please press *9 now to take your place in the queue.
Hello again, folks. This is John Carlo, otherwise known as JC. Those are just my initials. And I'm just utterly repulsed by these people who you guys have given a platform and to testify against this horrible bill. You know, just a reminder that I want you guys to consider how the nation voted for Trump, how we believe in his policies. The Democrat Party is at an all-time low. You guys actually need a new platform. But the main reason why I'm against it, okay, is because I believe in the Bible. I believe in God. I believe in natural law, okay? To promote homosexual behavior is to deny your own creation into this world. Okay, homosexual people do not reproduce. This goes against God, and may I remind you of Sodom and Gomorrah, when God rained fire and brimstone. This city already has a name is known by Sin City. It's already known for being a city that is ungodly. This is an ungodly bill. And by you guys promoting people to be more fruity, okay, with the Fruit Loop, you are only bringing the judgment of God and the wrath of God further on this city. And to think that we cannot run from God, okay? If you guys pass this bill, it will promise you it brings the wrath of God further on us. Okay? Do not ever claim his name and also claim to be for homosexuality. These are dynamically opposed to one another. So, oh my goodness, God rains fire and brimstone. Now I know where I can go and preach. Now I know exactly where I need to go. You guys have exposed yourselves, and you guys should have been cast out of the city. And also goes against the historical nature of this town. You know, how many minors do you think were really homosexuals? Okay, let's just forget that. Okay, this loop, Fruity Loop, has nothing to do with the real history of the men who built this town.
Thank you for joining
all
us.
I gotta say.
Next caller in opposition, please.
Chair, you have no more callers in opposition at this time.
Thank you. At this time, I'd like to invite those wishing to testify in the neutral position to please come forward. Seeing none in Carson City or Las Vegas, BPS, do we have anybody wishing to testify in the neutral position over the phone?
If you would like to testify neutral on SCR2, please press *9 now to take your place in the queue.
Good evening, everyone. CYRUS HOJJATY. I just want to point out that I do respect the efforts of Mr. Ed Hewling. I wish him the best with all these efforts. He's a good friend of mine. We've worked a lot at the local level. However, I do believe that it's better if this is done by the county commissions. And also about the crosswalk, you know, hopefully it's safer because I'm a cab driver. I drive through Naples Drive. It's very dangerous. So just food for thought, but very interesting presentation since the 1950s. Wow, interesting, but thank you so much.
Thank you for calling in, sir. Anybody else wishing to testify in the neutral position, please?
Chair, you have no more callers at this time.
Thank you. Senator Duñate, any closing remarks? Nope, I just got we're good to go. With that, we'll go ahead and close out the hearing. And next, we will move to public comment. Anybody in Carson City or Las Vegas wishing to join us for public comment? Seeing none, BPS, do we have anybody wishing to join us over the phone for public comment?
If you would like to provide public comment, please press *9 now to take your place in the queue.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for allowing me to take public comment. Cyrus Ojati, CYRUS HOJJATY. Thank you, Mr. Flores, for doing this meeting. You did an excellent job on how this was handled. I just wanted to make some basic comments about housing. To give you some news and updates, the headlines, there's a bipartisan bill to expand federal land to build more housing. I'm very grateful about that. And of course, because we have to know how we got in this mess. In the late 90s, there was some housing related, there was federal land related bills supported by both Senators Reid and Enzine, which is responsible partially for the housing mess that we're in. Not to mention both senators voted for the bailouts of the late 2000s, and that allowed Wall Street to buy up a lot of those homes and shrunk the available land available. So we have to know how we got here, and I'm glad that policies are being modified so we have available land. Although that's one part of the equation, there's many other factors into consideration. However, I'm very concerned about how this growth is going to take place. Now, I believe Eastern Avenue is in your district, Senator Flores. These types of routes that are being built are very concerning. They're unsafe for pedestrians, bicyclists. They're not safe for drivers. We have to make sure that growth on the outskirts, because I represent Strong Towns, Las Vegas, that it's going to be done more effectively. Are we going to grow the use of transit on the outskirts? Are we going to have parking requirements? All these things are important when it comes to housing. Are we going to have roundabouts? Because they're talking about a traffic light bill. So if they're inefficient, we have to stop building them on the outskirts. So I want this to be done more effectively. We can grow, but we have to do it more efficiently. And hopefully later on, I can show you some bills that has been passed by the Washington State Legislature that removes parking requirements for a lot of these new housing projects. But other than that, thank you so much for allowing me to give public comment, and happy St. Patrick's Day. Hope you're wearing green.
Thank you. And I think the committee sends you a virtual pinch for your lack of wearing green, sir. Thank you for joining us. At this time, I'd like to go to the next caller wishing to join us for public comment.
Yes, hi, this is Al Rojas calling from Assembly District 12, Senate District 21. I guess my senator is there. And I wanted to report to Clark County and my senator that we started a neighborhood watch group over by Lake Mead and Hollywood Boulevard, and we're all networked from Dollar Tree, all the 7-Elevens, all four of them, McDonald's, Walgreens, Walmart, the HOA. I live in the HOA. And, you know, the success that we're having is that we're attacking homeless people as they build their camps. These guys are like, to use an example, they're like a potato that once they start building a camp, they start digging in and building roots. And we need more services to quickly go out there and address these encampments. And before we just move them out, we need to identify what their needs are, what it's going to take them to get closer to back in the game. What are the first steps or 2 steps to improve their situation and get away from that encampment style, that lifestyle. And we don't have enough. We've been working really well with a group called HELP, HELP. We've been working with Metro, but we need more services that will first go out there, identify what their problem is, and then get rid of those encampments and get them help to move closer to a normal lifestyle. And that's what we're doing. We've got about 5 encampments out. I've trespassed personally with my group called, we're called, what do we call it? Hold on a second. Safe Communities Network. And we've done that. And that's the approach that we're taking, not just moving them around, identifying them, and to close, the program HELP has a website or an app where they're logging every person that they talk to get a profile and get a count. And that hopefully we get more legislation. And hopefully my senator does something like that, because that's our area, close to your area, Senator Flores, and we are making progress. So thank you very much.
Thank you. And the committee also sends you a virtual pinch for St. Patrick's Day. Thank you for joining us. Next caller wishing to testify for public comment.
Chair, you have no more callers at this time.
Thank you, members. As it's been said now multiple times, happy St. Patrick's Day. Appreciate everybody's questions and attentiveness today. We will likely, moving forward, continue to have long hearings as we had today. And we will have a better understanding tomorrow of whether or not we intend to meet on Friday. We're trying to avoid Friday meetings to the extent possible. But just depending on the mass or the amount of bills, better said, that we're getting, it may be difficult to do that at times. But for now, we'll see you all here again Wednesday at 3:30. This meeting's adjourned.